Hello, Valerie. This is Dottie and the SPF squad right here with me. I thought since they were all over here tonight that we would just say a little hello and introduce them to you. So we've got Randy, and we've got Cassie, and we've got Amy right here. Now, what I want you to know is these ladies, as I shared with you today, they are doing an amazing project with their suicide prevention feet, their SPF. And so we've been working on just sort of going through that because they're going to have it put together to see about some funding right before Christmas. But just wanted to introduce them and all. And these ladies have been friends for 15 years. I know they hardly look old enough to be over 15. They're so young. I mean, but anyway, we just kind of wanted to say hello to you. Now, earlier tonight, I was able to ask them why this SPF is just so incredibly important to them, why it has meaning, and they shared some of their personal stories. I'm going to wait for you to do that interview with them because I told them about that, and they're really, really excited. But we want to share some of the things that we've been doing, and that is with our Epic cards. Because, see, here's what I know, Valerie. You are epic. Randy is epic. Cassie is epic, Amy is epic, and I'm epic. But here's the difference is we all have a little bit of a different epic code. So we take our cards and we discover our epic code, which everybody got their cards in hand? Well, here they are. So here's what I say with people, Valerie. I would say, Randy, Cassie, Amy, I would say to them, please do me a favor. Take a look at these cards, and I want you to look at the values and put the ones that are most important to you on the top down to the ones that are least important. So, Valerie, there's values. We call this our VRB, our Values Relationship Builder. And so this takes under 90 seconds when people do it. And then what it really does, it tells them about themselves, and I'm going to ask them what they learned. But more importantly, the person can do this with somebody else and understand how they like to receive information, what their epic code is. And when we know somebody's epic code, we can really implement what Tony Robbins said, which is let your prospect determine your presentation, which sounds great, but how do we do that in real life? Well, the epic coding helps us do that so that we can speak somebody's epic language. So, Randy, tell us a little bit, what did you learn about yourself when you did the coding?
I learned that apparently I am way too logical for my own good sometimes. But I actually read through the report that you sent me, and I learned that for me to comprehend information, it has to be written down in a very specific format. You can't tell me things. You have to let me get my hands into it and actually do things on my own, or else it's just not going to stick.
So I'm not going to be able to say to you, Randy, just make that decision right now. You're going to say to me,
I need
the research. I need the facts. So show Valerie your code. Okay, so Valerie, what this means is that her EPIC code is actually ICEP. What this stands for, EPIC stands for everybody, you're extraordinary, you're professional, you're intelligent, and you're a connector. But, all of us are put together a little bit differently, and it's all good as long as we understand Randy's code. So it was really fun when I first coded her. Her mom's my hairdresser, and the minute I discovered her code, I had some insights into her, which I would not have known, to be quite honest. I was able to say, hey, did you watch Once Upon a Time this past week? And she was like, what? How do you know I like that? But anyway, she is the intelligent, and then connector, and then extraordinary, and then professional. And kind of what this means is the research is really important to her. She's got to wrap her head around the facts, but she loves to connect. Extraordinary has to do more with flexibility and freedom and kind of action taking. She's not going to take quick action until she's got that. And professional is sort of like if you have somebody that's their primary code, you would send them the information in bullet points. So anyway, now Cassie, tell me what you learned.
That I need to
be a little better about my decision making. It does take me a while. I have similar
We have the
logic
same
problems.
code.
Yeah, we have the same code.
Okay.
So,
Hold up your sign and show her again. That's ICEP. Now, Valerie, this is really interesting, but they were making little doodads on their signs here, and hers has got SPF over here. Cassie's has it in the middle. Need I even say where? And they didn't even know what each other was drawing because we took these boards out so that we could share with you our codes, and just that we have a lot of fun. Because what we really feel like is, you know, the EPIC codes, they are tools that transform our conversations, and they help us understand each other better. So back to you, Cassie. So you're an I and a C and E. So sometimes there may be some times when you need to take action a little quicker. Would you agree?
yes.
It's interesting, Valerie. I sat by a man on an airplane recently and actually coded him just with the cards, and he hired me to come in and train his top salespeople. And what really got his attention, his E was on the end and his I was first. And when I looked at him and said, you know, Jim, I think maybe that there's been times in your life where you didn't take action fast enough and it cost you. And he whipped his head around. He's the CEO of a $1 billion company. And he was like, I just took a personality profiling test that took 2 hours. I was so bored. He said, in 90 seconds, you know more about me. How do you know that? And I went, you told me who you are. But anyway, so now Amy, tell us a little bit about you. Me and Amy are going to give some hugs.
Well, for me, I've learned that I'm definitely more of a people person, and I sometimes act before I think. Actually, I've known that for years because of her. Well, because of these two. They're the logic, and I'm just like, oh, look.
So see, they kind of have to pull her back in the group. Isn't this great how they work together, though?
But they definitely balance me, and they're actually helping me with, you might want to think about the consequences of what that can do. Raj, that might be fun now, but that might suck later. And so it's definitely also different trying to learn how to connect with people or talk with people who are more logic-brained, because that's the complete and utter opposite of who I am. As you notice, I is on my other end, whereas theirs was over here. So for me, it's like, oh, pictures, diagrams, I get it. Talk to me, I get it. Then give me it written out. Do I have to? Yeah.
Well, it's kind of interesting, Valerie, because what I have found, and most of us recognize this after a while, is that we tend to present to other people in the ways that we like to receive information. And we don't know what goes wrong when we see their eyes zone over. We're like, what happened to them? And it's because we're talking to a person in our code, but it's not their code. So as much fun as it is to code ourselves, I mean, what is our favorite subject, y'all? Me. You know, we're all curious about ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with that, because when we have our codes here, we can go, okay, like for instance, mine is ECIP. Now, I tell you what, this is one that I had to really dig into because I developed this system and I developed an online. I'm not like totally low in this, but it's not how I primarily work and like to receive my information. I get to decision making pretty quick, but connecting is also important. E's probably more for when I'm doing business, and mine kind of change when I'm in friendships, because I don't really need to be an E so much, the driver, you know, when I'm hanging out with friends. But anyway, so I am their mentor for this. But what we're going to do now is we're going to actually show you what happens when they do the online, because the reason we're sharing this with you is they're going to utilize this in what they're doing to actually discover the EPIC code of the person who comes into the group when they start doing their SPF. And the great thing about the online is that when somebody does that, they actually get a report, a detailed report about themselves. That's a $75 value that they get at no cost. And then we also have a way of sort of moving them on to some other information that they need. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to screen share, and I might have to get my glasses on to do this. Okay, I'm going to screen share, And this is going to make it look like it's going to infinity. So don't
And
worry.
beyond.
There it goes into the universe. Okay, but I'm going to come over here. Yeah, it should be okay. So Valerie, what you're looking at right now, because we're screen sharing, is I put together a special code for them, which is discoveryourepiccode.com/suicide prevention feat. But then I took that and wrapped a custom domain around it, which is 247 SPF. So it's short and they can remember it easy when they're out somewhere, and people can type that in quick. This is mobile friendly. It comes up real good on the phone, doesn't it? You can move it around. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have Randy come over, and she's going to code herself right now. She's going to read these values, and I would do the same thing if I was, talking with somebody online. I would say, Randy, please do me a favor. Take a look at the cards, and then it's pretty intuitive. People just drag and drop these cards into position, and so this is, Valerie, for you and what you're doing. This gives you good information because people have a tendency to give their real information. Here's why. Once you hit submit, that's when it asks for your information. Well, after doing that, even for 90 seconds, you've already bought into it, and it's like, give me the information. So people have a tendency to give their right email, their right phone number, because they want the information. So go ahead and type your info in, and then Valerie will show you what happens, because the report comes up. And this is going to really be helpful, don't y'all think? With the high school students. Now, you all tell Valerie how old you are and all.
I am 24.
24.
That was Randy. Amy's 24.
I'm 25.
Oh,
Cassie just turned 25.
I would say Cassie's the old woman in the group, but I'm standing here, so we know that's not true. Hey, you're almost the reverse of me.
She's 62, you're 25.
Yeah. You're getting closer up there,
Quarter of a century.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was excited when I realized.
Yeah, if you were just 26, we could call it a true reverse. Okay, so go ahead and you're going to click on Send Me My Epic Code.
Maybe.
Did you punch it there?
Yeah, it's loading.
Okay, so here's what happens. This automatically, by the way she put the cards, it tells her, wow, your I is your primary code. And it goes and it tells her all about herself. Now, let's say that somebody didn't have time to read this right now. Well, no problem, because they put their email in there. It's going to send it to them. Nice little email is going to show up. It's going to say, click here, to go back to that report. It's also going to give them a chance to send it to 5 friends. So if somebody says, wow, I think my friend would love to discover their epic code, then they can do that. And what happens here, Valerie, we can actually, I don't like to redirect and blindside somebody. I don't think that ever feels good. Just to all of a sudden you think you're on one thing and you're somewhere else. But we do pop up a thank you box. And in it, it then puts the control back in Randy's hands. She can make the decision if she wants to click there. So when she clicks there, it's actually going to take her to their suicide prevention feat survey. And they have done a great job of putting this together. I mean, when we were talking about this, I said, look, you know the questions better. You put it together and then I'll review it. So they did a great job. I just had a few tweaks for you, in the first part that I thought might kind of, help a little bit. And made a suggestion about putting something at the bottom where people could really write out more, kind of like paragraph form. Did you get a chance to add that yet?
Yep, I'm going to the bottom.
Getting to the bottom.
Now.
Yeah, there you go. Because we thought, well, gosh, what if they had some ideas they could share about activities or whatever? So they put that in a box so they can just kind of write that out. But anyway, Valerie, that's what we're doing and using to help them. And I've provided that link for them and cards, and I'm going to provide cards for every single person in the group that comes into the group, so that they can go out and they can do this with their friends and family and really begin to communicate better. Because Val, I'll tell this one real quick thing. Let me take it off screen share so that I won't be looking here and you can see these folks. Okay, let me go back over here. I'm going to stop that. So Valerie, what happened was we had a family in Hawaii, and their 17-year-old son was suicidal. So we went in and coded the family, and what we discovered was that the mother, the sister, and the brother were all either E or C in their first two codes, okay? I mean, you know, they're that person that's kind of a driver and a connector. And so the son was coded out, and he was an I at first. Well, you know, needless to say, there's no reason they didn't understand each other's language. But as soon as they began to understand his language and vice versa, they really learned a lot. And today the family's doing really good. But the interesting and funny thing was we asked the son, okay, so like, what did you learn? He said, well, I learned that I'm smarter than all of them. So he kind of had the last laugh, I guess, on them. And anyway, that's just how it can work in the family. And that was a suicide situation. So what do you all want to share with Valerie, though, about the importance of this to you all?
For me, it's mostly bridging that. For me, it's mostly bridging the gap. Parents don't know how to talk to their kids. Teachers don't know how to talk to the kids. I mean, today's generation of kids is what's going to bring our planet into the future. And if that generation of kids doesn't know how to be an adult, then our planet is just going to keep declining and declining, and it's just nothing's ever going to get better.
Yeah.
So we want to start now and teach kids, hey, look, there's a better way to learn. There's another way for you to reach out and say, you know, I need help, but I don't have the resources. Well, we want to create that resource.
Yeah, obviously this has touched all of them in some form or fashion, and they're going to be able to share that with you when you interview them. Thanks, Randy. Cassie, how about you?
Mainly, I'm
going to have you step up so she can hear you.
I've always been someone who likes to help people, and I just want to be someone that they can go to when they need someone. So that, I don't know, she mentioned like big sister, big brother type thing, be a mentor to someone so that they don't feel the way me or my friends have felt in the past.
Yeah, that's great. Amy, how about you? Step on up.
Well, for me, I want to give an opportunity for those who didn't have those opportunities. And also being a young adult and having to learn how to budget, how to do all this on my own and going, I have no idea. I was never taught this. It's kind of nice to know that since we are going through that, we can go, okay, this is what works. This is what doesn't. This is the resources we have found. And also because I have faced that choice of ending my life or not, I want to make sure they know that they're not alone. And also that they have people who are willing to be there. I don't care what time it is. We're going to give them a number that they can call. I don't care what time it is. I will wake up for it.
Yeah.
Or at least I'll try to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm dead to the world. But we want to be able to be that person for them no matter what time or ever. They can text us at all times of the night. We'll be there for them. Yeah. And we want to give them a program that shows them how they can love themselves. Anyone else saying whatever their naysayers are, you can go, you may say that, and yes, I own that. However, I am better. And
because you know that.
Exactly, because they will know more about themselves and accept more about themselves, then they will be better for that and will be able to progress in life where people are still struggling.
Yeah. And you all have so much to give because the empathy you have for others because of what you've come through is, first of all, it's made you stronger. We know that. But it's also made you say, wow, I need to give back. And that's what Valerie is doing so great. She says, to those who've been giving much, you know, much is required. And so that's what she does. She actually teaches financial literacy. I mean, I sent you all about her.
Yes, I read up on it and I was very impressed.
Yeah, she's done a lot in her life and she's done very well and she gives back. And I don't know, did y'all have a chance to go to the calculator yet?
Yes, I did actually try it. What you do is you type in
let's do it here real quick.
And then the decimal.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to screen share again. I just sent that to them today.
Age. And then it'll actually calculate how much you could save by that age. It's amazing. Yeah, I know it, right?
every time.
So I'm going to go off that one, and I'm going to put in, I love this name, instead of a calculator, a calculator. There we go. I was on here earlier. So I'm going to click, I don't know if you saw this, but there's another one you can go to. So look at this one, paying off credit cards. Now let's just think about this. You know, a lot of people might not think that.
Well, actually, I have a balance that we can use.
Okay.
That's actually
$225. 26.
226. Yeah,
Okay.
That's what we owe on a loan right now.
Okay. So let's just say, what is that interest on that?
I think it's 12%.
12%? You've got a pretty low one then.
It's weekly. And it was a small loan. So, and the
So
monthly
what-
payments are $50.
$50. Okay. So now we can go and calculate.
I like the gears.
That'll take you 5 months just to pay that off.
Wow, really? I have 5 more months left.
And your last month's payment is
Now
$50.
think about this though. I did this earlier today. I mean, you hear people all the time. They think nothing about racking up $2,500. And in some ways, that does, you know what I mean? Think about this. And you know what? Those credit cards have something. I mean, this is even conservative. Let's say 23%. Some of them is highway robbery. So let's say you were only paying $75 a month on that. Let's calculate this one. Oh, what did it say? I put it in there.
Oh, you put 2 decimal points in there.
Oh, I did. Oh, I thought I had my glasses on. Thank you for catching that. Because I did this one earlier. Look at that, 54 months. I mean, y'all, that's over 4 years.
Yeah. That's
Just begin to
insane.
think about, anyway, Valerie, I mean,
That reminds me of like my bills. For my
she's good with
hospital.
all this, you know, as you can tell from her resume. Anyway, that is just way too much, you know, great tool to have. And I just sent that to them after we had our little call, Valerie. So anyway, Valerie, we just kind of wanted to be here to let you know that these gals are for real. They have a great project in mind, and I know that you doing an interview with them would be wonderful. So any last words from anybody?
One thing I did want to say was we have another group member that is really passionate about this. She actually has a pretty close personal history of suicide. She couldn't be here because she had to work tonight, but we're going to try and work things out with her work schedule so she can be here next time.
Yeah. And we actually, Valerie, we have a 400 square foot cottage outside the house here, and that's going to kind of be their headquarters, you know, where they can gather. And we have that. One of the reasons we bought this place is so that when people were homeless and just all kinds of things, they would have a place. And we've done that through the years. And this seems perfect for what we're all working on. And anyway, thanks so much, Valerie, for taking the time to look at this. And I know these guys are going to be a great interview. I just wanted you to know who they are. So let me end this broadcast, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.
Bye.